Candace Owens continues to generate controversy in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination.
The right-wing commentator released more text messages that were supposedly sent between her and Kirk in 2018. The messages appear to show Kirk saying that Ben Shapiro had a strong dislike of both Kirk and Owens, and that he tried to stifle their careers. Here's Owens explaining the situation on her podcast.
Ben was going on people's shows and talking down about me and Charlie. And he said, "You're bigger than Ben now." I'm walking into the White House yesterday. I realized that. I said, "I know, he hates it." And he said, "We just have to treat him like noise. He wants you to punch down to him. His respect amongst movement fighters is quite low." I feel like that's relevant right now to what Ben's doing. He wants to egg on this fight because he's lost a certain bit of respect.
Owen says she has hundreds more similar messages between her and Kirk going back many years, but some have accused the messages about Ben Shapiro of being fake. Frank McCormick says on X, after having ChatGPT analyze the images, I believe Candace fabricated them. Even older iOS versions used consistent design rules for spacing, heading, layout, and topography, none of which match this image. Together, these details show it isn't a real iPhone screenshot, but a digitally fabricated mock-up made to look authentic.
But journalist Yashar Ali cautioned against those accusing Owens of faking the messages, saying, quote, "When you deny the authenticity of something put out by a media figure like Candace, you sure as hell better be right. And if you're not, then that it's something that just vanishes and gets lost in the mix. Candace will weaponize your attempts to debunk her to further radicalize her followers and recruit new ones who were previously on the fence." Meanwhile, Owens also sat down with CNN recently for a lengthy interview there. She reiterated her theory that Tyler Robinson, the suspect who is in custody for Kirk's shooting, did not kill Charlie Kirk. Here is Candace Owens claiming the FBI created fake messages of Robinson confessing to the crime.
The feds are like on a computer, like typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law enforcement?
I have leaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson has...
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure.
Your favourite right-wing commentator, Robbie.
I know.
You love Candace.
I'm going to sound like such a lib today. I thought it was a good interview. It was a CNN interview. I thought it was well done.
Sure.
The reporter knew her stuff and was polite. And again, just challenged Candace to say, okay, you're making a very strong claim, very bold claim. What is the evidence of this claim? And Candace has nothing. Honestly, those two accusations are very similar. I do not believe Candace put forth fake text messages with Charlie Kirk. I believe those are genuine. That would be an extraordinary thing for her to do, to fake text messages. I don't think she's doing that. Nor do I think the FBI faked the text messages that demonstrate the rationale for the shooter, who we have abundant forensics evidence was the killer. And again, Candace disbelieves that because she's a lunatic. But her messages with Charlie are sincere, I'm sure. It is not surprising to me that Charlie, who's a very close friend of hers at one point, and maybe until the very end, talked to her about, her media star had risen higher than Ben Shapiro's. That's true. And maybe that was something Ben was upset about. I think that's not what he's upset about. I think he's upset with the things she had to say. But it seemed like a genuine conversation to me. I don't think it's made up. I don't think people should try to use ChatGPT says it was fake. No, I don't believe that at all. But I also believe the text. People kept saying the Tyler Robinson text messages sound fake. They didn't sound fake to me at all. And then further in that interview, then Candace says, well, there's not timestamps or something, so that's how I know it's fake. And the interviewer was like, well, they're come from I can't remember if it's text or Discord, but whatever the format is, would not have had timestamps. And then Candace she's like, oh, I didn't know that. She's very
nonplussed.
It's a successful. It's not like a gotcha attempt. Right. It's just a correction of something she said that is wrong, that she has no response for. Yeah. Which is very characteristic of what Candace. We don't respect all that much, if you can't tell.
Robbie's not in fact
I'm not
the
a
biggest
fan.
Candace
I don't know.
Owens
I would be
fan
lying to you, guys. I know some people watching are probably a fan. I'd be lying if I said I held her in great esteem. I do not. A lot of these people in this kind of independent right or also left ecosystem, I disagree with a lot of what they do, and I find value in other things that they do. I'm forced to concede I don't find much value in what Candace is doing. It's frequently wrong.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I mean, the CNN interview I thought was very good in just sort of exposing how shallow her claims are in the Tyler Robinson thing. It's basically just that thing that conspiracy theorists do, which is make a blanket assertion, i.e., the feds are making it up. The feds are inventing the text messages. And then you say, and what's the proof of that? And there isn't any. Right? There is no, it's just this, it's this mindset that takes whatever the official or establishment version of events is and just says, well, they must have faked that, without any supporting evidence for that assertion at all. Which, of course, brings us to, like you say, the text messages and all that. I've no idea. I think that the whole ChatGPT analysis is like a modern updated version of what happened. You remember the whole Dan Rather, George W. Bush thing, and it was like whether a certain typewritten letter would have been written in this font if you had a
It's like body language analysis.
Yeah.
It's the pseudoscience.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. And
it would be foolish. I mean, even for someone who's as much of a sort of professional controversialist or provocateur as Candace Owens is, it would be very bizarre to fake text messages with someone who was revered by the conservative movement while alive and has become even more so following his killing.
Yeah, I don't think she's faking messages. I think she's making claims that are deeply disrespectful to Charlie's memory. I mean, I think it's a little gross anyway to take someone who is dead and can no longer speak for himself and to be sharing, maybe selectively sharing messages with this person and trying to say, oh, this proves my point.
Right.
I mean, I think that frankly is ghoulish behavior, and you should not do that.
Yeah,
he can't speak for himself, and so you should let it be.
And to gain a sort of foothold or advantage in this ongoing feud she has with Shapiro, right? That's the general purpose.
And again, she's making it is to advance a claim that is false, that he was to put out the idea, if she doesn't say it. I don't know if she's said it in exactly these words, but to create confusion and create a suggestion that some force killed Charlie Kirk that was Israel or Israel adjacent or was and it's being covered from you and concealed from you, when we have a suspect in custody who it is overwhelmingly likely committed the crime and whose rationalization, I'm sorry it's that neat for you. You don't want it to be neat, but it is, who has a articulated rationale that makes sense. I'm sorry, because sometimes the government does mislead us. And then people say, oh, you just trust everything the FBI says. No, I don't. And I've done radar after radar on this show about, for instance, the case of the Gretchen Whitmer, kidnapping plot, bad conduct in my view on the FBI's part. You should not trust the authorities. The authorities do stuff wrong all the time. But just because we can't always trust the authorities doesn't mean that every crazy claim can always be borne out. Sometimes crazy claims can be borne out. COVID is a testament to things that were said by people at a greater level of fringe about where COVID originated and how well some of the therapeutics would work and how well some of the mitigation efforts were, even though experts said those claims not standing up to scrutiny. That's a win for more fringe people. They win sometimes. They're right, absolutely. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have automatic trust in fringe perspectives nor automatic trust in mainstream perspectives.
Right. Well, and
that's hard for people to accept.
And one of the
either or.
Yeah, and one of the big problems I have with the fringy or conspiracy-minded people is that not only are they enormously skeptical of the official version of events, they're enormously credulous when it comes to the fringe explanation of events. So presumably, perhaps some of our own audience will have watched Candace there talking about the lack of evidence that the FBI faked it, but will still believe her anyway. And it's like, why do we, if you're of that mindset, why do you believe the person on the fringe without evidence at the same time as you're incredibly skeptical that the official version doesn't have enough evidence? Like, you should be presumably going where the provable evidence leads you in your conclusions, right?
Right. And the idea that, because then they started to get into the journalist for CNN saying, if there was evidence of this, we would report. Because then Candace says, well, no one will report the real truth about who killed Charlie. And the journalist is like, don't you think I would be all over that story if there was some evidence? That would be that would be a Pulitzer Prize Pulitzer Prize winning story if I could prove that
the FBI had set someone up to protect. Well, I mean, I think Candace's suggestion is Israel, right?
Right. If you think about that for 5 seconds, it falls apart. Of course, they would want to
expose that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Sure. Anyhow, President Trump is threatening a massive billion-dollar lawsuit against the BBC. Coming up, why the broadcaster is being accused of deceptively editing a speech the president gave on January the 6th. Stay with us for that.